Gaming Bolt presents 15 gameplay features and mechanics that don't make any sense. Bad game mechanics are just a part of life when it comes to playing video games, but that doesn't mean we have to like them. Let's take a little break and vent over some terrible decisions on adding bad features and mechanics into some of our most beloved games. JRPG battle systems. Remember a few years back on Final Fantasy XIII? Probably one of the most convoluted battle systems to ever grace consoles. Not only did the player have to choose an action, but not all enemies reacted to certain hits, which is normal for many games, but a confusing and downright sensitive paradigm shift was put into play. As we all know, Final Fantasy games have pretty powerful enemies in boss battles, and finding the correct paradigm shift before the character is wiped out could be a heavy challenge. Insta Damage. I've been wondering about this forever. There's never been a good explanation after all these years. What's really annoying is when the playable character walks up to an enemy, just slightly bumps into it and takes damage. Like what? How can I take damage by touching an enemy's backside? Skills I suck at. Games that require an overabundance of skills just to get past the level tear me up. Ghosts and Goblins and Battletoads were among some of the hardest games at the time. Challenge isn't something I'm trying to avoid, but something that's so unbelievably challenging that it can make me throw my controller across the room, that's gone too far. Chaser enemies. Now this is a 2D side-scrolling issue. What's up with those enemies at the edge of the screen? Sometimes not even enemies, possibly water, poison, fire as well, rapidly chasing after the character, forcing it to leap, slide, run, and make sometimes flawless progression just to advance. Alarms, dings, boops. There's nothing more annoying to ears than continuous, aggravating noises. From Pokemon making warning if that little adorable monster is about to faint to, Pokemon isn't the worst alarm setter either. There are tons of other games that give off those garish warnings. It's a crime against gamers. Time limits. Ever get to a point in a game, usually near the end, and find out, oh no, there's a time limit that's been tacked on to imply importance. There are even those modes that have time limits to finish collecting items or killing a certain amount of enemies. A bad one I re-experienced was from Banjo-Kazooie. Turning Banjo into an alligator, or crocodile, I don't know, and battle to eat a certain amount of items against another alligator with a time limit. It wasn't terribly difficult. I mean, I finished it after only 20 tries. Autoscrolling. Most infamously adopted in Mario games, autoscrolling comes when the player's character starts out on said level, moves about an inch forward, and then the screen proceeds to continue moving forward with or without the character. Jumping from one platform to another that isn't exactly on screen yet can be mind-numbing and requires several do-overs. Grinding. Fighting enemy after enemy becomes a grind, and even on some newer RPGs, some players are forced to grind for hours. It's cruel and unusual punishment to make players kill the same enemies for hours on end just to get past the next area. This needs to stop. Q.T.E. QuickTime Events are those little button sequences that randomly pop up on screen, usually during cutscenes that allow the progression and well-being of a character to proceed without actual control over said character. I understand how annoying it can be for some, but I always enjoyed having more interactivity with my cutscenes. AutoAttach. Gears of War is the king of wall attachment, but believe it or not, the game didn't invent it. Just standing near a wall in either game would make the character stick, sometimes unintentionally. Walking by a wall just to get to the other side and there goes Marcus again. It's those moments where it's not needed that just make it a thorn in my side. Specialty items. Has there ever been a game you enjoyed where discovering new and exotic weapons was just a lot of fun? Then using those weapons to kill baddies and showing them who's boss. Then going to the next dungeon or castle or cave and finding out, that weapon actually sucks in here. In some sections of Mega Man, there are weapons the character goes on a quest to find, uses them in that one area, then finds out that the weapon is practically useless throughout the rest of the game. It stinks, actually. Bush blocker. This one is sort of a really kind of nuisance. Walking through the forest or city, and hey, the exit is just steps away. All I have to do is walk through this bush. Oh, wait, I can't walk through bushes in this game. Bummer. Forcing the player to walk, sometimes long distances just to get around a small rock, bush, waist-high gate, crack in the ground is just wrong. Stamina. Ever have a character that can run for 3 feet, then has to walk for 10 minutes because it got tired? Blame that on the stamina bar. That evil little bar on the screen that says how long the character can go wild with 3-second running, 1 jump, 2 punches, etc. Why? keep tapping that A button for running. GTA is notorious for this feature, and it sucks. In Grand Theft Auto, to run, the player must constantly and consistently press a button to keep up a running pace. That's not so much a cure for that stamina bar I just mentioned, but rather a new way to implement a bad idea. Pseudo Reality. Choosing a character's path in a game, be it making a decision on if the character becomes a good guy, bad guy, kills one ally or the other, or simply down to choosing the left side of a cave or right side of a cave to go down. Deciding is often a phony way to make the player feel empowered, and seem as though he or she is deciding how the game plays out, when in reality, it all pretty much ends up the same in the end. Let us know your least favorites in the comments below, and if you like what we're doing, go ahead and click that subscribe button. See you soon!